I'm Justin Giori. I'm from Hamilton, New Jersey. Before I found Best Music Coach, my situation was such that I have always loved music. I've spent a lot of time in my life practicing and playing instruments, but over the past few years, I've sort of fallen off of that and have gotten caught up in all of life's other pursuits and everything going on. And I wasn't writing any music. I've never written any music at any point before in my life. The closest I ever came was a sax solo and transcribing it. So before I found Best Music Coach, the situation with my music was more or less I still loved music as I've had my whole life. I started out playing instruments, but in the past few years, I've been real too big on that. And I've really been wanting to get back into that. And I've really wanted to get into writing music, which is totally new to me. My situation before Best Music Coach, it made me feel unfulfilled. I knew that I had this potential in me to create and to share with other people and ultimately to perform amongst other people again and eventually perform music that I've created. That's kind of like the ultimate end goal for me, and to be able to do that in the presence of other people and, spread just my voice to as many other people as I can and just get myself out there and really have fun with it again. I was unable to really access my creative energy in the best capacity. And that's been a big thing that Best Music Coach has helped me to unlock and really teach me to really relearn to openly create and also learn music theory, which is another thing I wanted to do. So that's something I didn't have that much real practical knowledge on. And I've gained that. And while it was something that I suppose I could have done, I could have written music, right, at any point. But the skills that I've learned from Best Music Coach allow me to write music at a professional level and really understand the whole process instead of sailing blindly into that night. I wished that I could write music before. I wished that I could harness the creative energy I felt inside and the music I could hear in my head and project it out, share it with other people, share it with the world, and really share it with myself. Because if it stays up here, then even I'm bound to forget it. And it just feels like a waste. So that was something I always wished I could do. And Best Music Coach has helped me to learn how to do that and give myself the emotional permission to do that, because that's a big part of it too. I would say the impact that not going after these dreams, not really harnessing what I felt within me, it didn't just negatively impact me in terms of how I felt. It also negatively impacted, people around me, people who love and care about me, because they could tell that I wasn't happy, whether I told them or not. Some of them I did, some, just knew from knowing me, maybe didn't have that solid of a grasp on it, but they knew that I wasn't happy and I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And, even if my physical life, my conditions were pretty good, I'm fortunate to have my own place, have a roof over my head, be able to feed myself, and be somewhat self-sufficient, which is fantastic. They knew that there was something missing, whether I told them or not. Some people I confided in and knew the deeper story, that I wasn't happy with my job, and I sort of saw these railroad tracks set out before me, that just in the back of my head there was this voice that would tell me that I needed to change something, because if I stay on the path I'm on, I'm going to have a lot of regrets, and I don't want regrets. So this is me really trying to change that narrative, right? And really teach myself through experience, really have proof for myself too, that I can do these things that are, feel scary and uncertain, and I can allow myself to enjoy it without diminishing it, without judging myself and, self-sabotaging all the way down. It's been an issue for me in the past, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity for me to learn another way to overcome that and, widen my repertoire as far as being the best version of myself. The way I found out about Best Music Coach was through YouTube. Truth be told, I have probably watched too much YouTube in my time. I was in the genre of music analysis, music theory analysis. Most of the channels out there that come to mind, I've probably seen them. And I was a fan of Dan's channel. I liked what he had going on with just his own approach of doing it live and looking at an entire game OST was pretty unique and was, just great for someone like me who just wanted these longer and longer videos with more content and more information for me to get because I loved it. I love music and I love video game music is probably the number one musical influence in my life that has made me so passionate about it. There's lots of others too, but like that's probably the biggest one is, I've been playing video games most of my life and the music has mostly been like probably my favorite thing about video games because there's just so much fantastic video game music out there and some of it taught me about music while I was having fun. I didn't even realize how much I was learning probably at that time. So going through this process from the start, at first it was exhilarating. I was really doing it, right? I was taking real action towards what you could call any kind of like goal for myself. I was setting a goal for myself by even doing this and agreeing to do it and following through and committing the time and energy has been an exhilarating process. It's something that I haven't really like given myself over to in a long time. And I didn't realize how much I'd missed that, just having something to really like deliberately pour my energy into. At first, I won't lie, I was a little overwhelmed by just the amount of stuff that was already there. Looking at the course home, there were so many courses, but that reaffirmed to me that it was worthwhile because there was so much here, right? There was so much accessible to me. And I just thought like, I'm going to be learning so much. Wow, like this is crazy. And getting sort of acquainted with the whole community surrounding the Gamer Music Creation Guild. It's been amazing. Just positive influences. Everyone has their own struggles, but everyone is here to like support each other, which is fantastic to see. And it really breeds a healthier, like creative community. So that was awesome. And I was surprised too in the very beginning by the music maker mindset course. It was like getting a self-help book, like just in video form, which can be better for a lot of people for sure. And it was really great. Some of the stuff that teaches you in there, the mindset stuff really makes a big difference when you really take the time to apply it and take the effort to, change your own mind to apply some of the advice in here because it's just solid stuff for anyone doing literally anything in their life. So that I like that a lot too. And from there, it's just been very exciting learning how to make music, learning music theory, learning how to use different music creation softwares and DAWs. Like it's awesome. Great feelings all around about the program. So right up to signing up and right after signing up, there were some fears and misgivings I had. For one, this one is less about the Gamer Music Creation Guild and more about myself, but I had a primary worry myself that I wouldn't stick with this, commit and follow through to the level that's required to get results that I want. And it's been a process and it's an ongoing process to really, deal with that, accept what parts of me that represents or that represent that and why they're doing what they're doing, where it's coming from. To be able to move past it, we have to accept it to move past it first. So that's been another lens of self-reflection that's always welcome that when I find something like that. And another fear was just that I just suppose that the fear was that it would not be as serious or as professional as it's purported to be because we see tons of different services and classes and everything you can find online these days, right? It feels like everyone's got a class to sell and they all have to make their money, right? So it's understandable, but you want, going in, we all naturally have these questions like, is this worth my time and money? And so, that was just a general misgiving that came with like spending any money. Maybe that comes a little bit more from how I was raised than anything else, especially when it comes to like spending money on myself. But I would say that those fears were cleared up very quickly once I like, checked out the program, got to speak with Dan more one-on-one and got to interact with the community. This is a very sincere program. This is here to help people learn music and learn to do what they want to do with music. It's really up to us to determine what our goals are, but that's really empowering too. And I think that's especially important for something creative like music, because if you don't have an idea of where you're going, then you're kind of just blindly painting. which can be fun, and there's a time and place for that too. But to really grow, you need to have a game plan. You need to have a goal in mind. Going into this with some goals in mind of my own, and Dan helping me to come up with some goals too during the beginning stages has been great for me. And the program hands me all the tools I need to bridge the in between there. So despite all the fears that I had, another voice in me was adamant that I needed to try this. There's a little part of me that kicks in when something makes me really uncomfortable and scared that will just whisper to me, but why is this making you so uncomfortable? This must be really important. So listening to that voice this time, because it's not imperfect. There are times when that voice maybe shouldn't be listened to, but this was one where I was absolutely right to listen to that voice and say, you know what, you're right. This is making me nervous because I know how important it is for me. And because I put this pressure on myself to perform and have very high expectations of myself, that is what creates the fear, because that fear comes from a fear of failing to follow through, a fear of failing to perform as I'd like to. And it's an irrational one because the only way I can even find out if I can perform in the first place is to try. If I don't try, then I might as well be guaranteeing failure by that same metric, right? And to take it a step further, what we would think of as failure, what I might be calling failure here, is nothing more than a necessary step in the learning process anyway. We really can't learn without failing. So all that together made me think, well, I need to learn how to not fear failure as much a little bit. And this looks like a great way to do that. And it's a great way for me to step into my love of music, step back into it, and really nurture that part of myself, and maybe change the course of my life, course correct towards what I love and what I care about. So now, as of half a week ago, I released and published my first piece of music. It was a track that I created using the Best Music Coach course, all the lessons that I've learned, some of the programs that I've learned to use through that too. The whole process came to a head in creating this one track. And it's fantastic for me because it's the first, like I said, it's the first track, it's the first piece of music I've ever written. And now it's out there in the world. It's out on Spotify. I've shared it with some friends. It's incredible. Even just over the course of like a month, you just seem different. Or like, they would tell me that I looked really good, just exudes, right? The positive energy exudes. And that has come from me really like actually applying myself to this thing, not backing off and giving up, not doubting myself and wanting to hide what I've made. So it's really cool. People reassure me all the time how well I'm doing, and it's very appreciated because sometimes it can be a little hard to see when I'm just in my own head, but it's been a great journey so far, and I'm glad to keep pushing on it. I'm already out of plans for a bunch of new songs to write, and I want to keep it cooking in regards to that and keep making more and more, keep proving it to myself. Compared to before, now I have so much at my fingertips. I'm able to use FL Studio. I'm able to use Noteflight to create a more basic sketch, which I especially love because I learned by reading sheet music. So it really helps me to see the bars and actually place the notes. I've learned how to mix. I've learned how to go through the whole process of creating a melody from the very bass parts down to just the rhythm of the line, all the way to voicing it, arranging it, putting it into FL Studio, really filling the thing out, creating a song out of what was once just a few bars of melody, and then how to put it out there, how to finish it, how to release it. These are all things that Best Music Coach has taught me. To anyone who, is thinking about doing something like this, but you're still nervous, you're having some second thoughts about taking that call, taking that leap, I would say to give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to just drop away everything, drop all the thoughts away, take all of the unnecessary qualifiers you attach to everything, drop it all, and just listen to yourself, listen to your heart, and really think about it honestly, what you want to be doing. Look at where you're at now, look at what it's doing for you. And if you know after doing that, you want more music in your life, that you want to create more music, you want to learn more about music, then I would say do it. If you really feel that, go for it, because not going for it is sure to leave you with regrets. Take it from me. I'm someone who has spent years away from music, even knowing deep down that I loved it. And, I still listen to music, but I knew deep down that there was way more for me to plunge in this beautiful thing that we have, right? So many instruments I still want to learn over the course of my life. So much I want to play in bands again, all different genres. I want to write my own music. I want to perform that music. All of this is very important to me. And if any part of that sounds important to you, I think you should highly consider signing up. If I had the chance to give myself a phone call in the period before I signed up, sometime in there, I could say one thing to myself to convince me that I should sign up for this. I would tell myself that here we are, still in the first quarter or so of the year, and I've released a track of music. I made a piece of music, something that I didn't think I had in me, even though I knew I could hear the music in my head. There's all layers to that. So if I knew that I would be here now making music and releasing it, that would be enough for me to sign right up. Because knowing myself, I would be like, oh, this is working then. This is getting me to act. So the Gamer Music Creator Guild is fantastic. It's a strong community that's been built out of all the people who have signed up for this class and the people who work for it too. I think probably the number one thing about it is all the positive reinforcement that I see from everyone. Everyone is there to see you succeed. And when one person wins, we all do, right? That's the nature of music as a whole, really, because when any one musician wins, that means more great music for all of us to enjoy and to learn from. So that's probably the number one thing. And if I could add one other thing, I would say just the wealth of knowledge that's available at a very short notice to all the people that are involved. There's so many brains to pick for any kind of question you have regarding music creation, software, all of that. So any additional comments I was thinking of might include, I just think this is an awesome program. The world needs more stuff like this. Sadly, in my hometown, I've watched the music programs in the schools just get smaller and smaller and smaller with each passing year. That's just an example. I can think back to when I was in high school, freshman year in high school. Our marching band was the largest category. So many members. There were over 100 of us. By the time I was a senior, I think it was down under 60. And from what I've heard, it's just gotten smaller and smaller. And at this point, there might be 20 to 30 people in the program. And that's so sad. It's tragic, because whether you're going to go into a career in music or not, everyone benefits from learning music. I think every single person should learn music in some capacity, whether it's just having a vocal class, learning any instrument, even just learning music theory. We had a piano lab class in our school. I remember that it was about learning piano, but I know that there was music theory elements to it too. Just anything that helps people even just understand the music they enjoy listening to better is so enriching for literally every person. Whether, like I said, whether they're trying to pursue a career in music or a future in music or not, we all stand to benefit from it. And I just think it's great that this class exists, that there are classes like this, and that I'm seeing such a push in recent times, particularly online. That's the platform where we have the most freedom, really, at this point, which is great, to just get this out there, to get more people learning music and learning to love music and understand it better. It benefits all of us. So really grateful for that. Grateful for what Dan's put together here. I think he's really utilizing his experience and his trial and error with learning music to give you the best of both worlds, between an academic, collegiate type experience versus a more hands-on practical teaching. I think both methods have value, and he's sort of bringing them both together for this. And it makes me excited to keep learning. So that's great too.